Shalom, peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Um, this is your hostess with the mostest, Moshe Ben Yasharel. Like, share, and subscribe. Um, we live in a world where people have a problem with the truth. You know, um, people don't want to hear the truth. People are offended by the truth, but the truth has to be told. You know, because the Most High is, beckoning his people, pleading, with the nations for his people. And our people don't see that. When I was growing up, um, my grandparents, my mother, we all went to church. My grandmother, uh, uh, is the one that really, my grandfather, he didn't go. You know what I'm saying? My grandfather he wasn't having it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't to say he didn't believe, but he didn't go. My grandma did, you know what I'm saying? But my grandfather didn't. But anyway, that's where basically, you know what I'm saying, I was introduced. And, you know, the you know, it was like continuing a cycle, for my grandma to take me there, even though, all things was working out for the good, so that, I would have some type of foundation. Um, and my mother, and in the beginning, she went, you know, to, church, and then for some reason she just stopped going, you know what I'm saying? But we used to go with this family that it was my brother's friend, and we used to go with them. So, it was always, I had always been in church, you know what I'm saying? And being in church, they taught us that, we was the Gentiles, you know, uh, you know, and when you read in the Bible, basically Gentile with Gentile dogs, basically, they would call the Gentiles dogs, beast, and so the meditation is on the truth of the matter. You see what I'm saying? Because, for a long time we've been, you know, taught that we were engrafted into the branch, that we were adopted, you know, um, and we are the branch. We are the true branch that the Most High Yahuwah speaks of. And I'm gonna go to my scriptures real quick, and I'm gonna read, because we're gonna deal with this branch, you know what I'm saying, real quick. um we're gonna deal with the branch real quick. So we're gonna look up branch, and it's in Matthew's. Just give me a second real quick. The hold on just a minute. Let me let's go to the New Testament and look it up. Paul said in Romans 11:18, boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root out the root of thee. Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off that might be grafted in. For if Elohim spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee. For if thou were cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and went grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much more small these which be the natural branches be grafted into their own olive tree. And so Paul was speaking on the branch. And when you go to John 15, it says, if a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. Matter of fact, let me start at John 15:2. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it might bring forth more fruit. John 15:4. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine. No more can ye, except you abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. So we are the natural branch of the Most High Yahweh. We are the bloodline descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which, Abraham, Yishchak, and Yaqub in Hebrew. And so when you go to Luke, let's look at the adoption real quick. Because for a long time we were taught that we were the Gentiles. And so I'm gearing up to show you, to help you see, how we got to be the Gentiles. And so Romans 8:15 says, for ye have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but ye have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit. So he's telling you right there that we had the first fruits. What was the first fruits? The first fruits mean that we were the first ones given the covenant. The covenant was placed in our under our authority, and it was our responsibility to teach and give and to preach, the word of the Most High Yahweh, to deliver the good news. And not only thee, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves grown within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body, who are Israelites, to whom partaketh the adoption in the glory, in the converts. And so what you have to understand, when Paul is talking about the adoption, he is saying that because when we sinned, we were cut off, we were cursed, and that's what, it means to be cursed, is to be cut off. You see what I'm saying? And so, because we were cursed and we were cut off, according to Torah, once a bill of divorce was given to a woman, and she left her husband and defiled their bed and went and got with another man, she couldn't come back to her husband. And so because of that, Yahusha, he had to redeem us through Yahusha Hamashiach. And that's why he came, is so that we could be engrafted back into the covenant and engrafted back into the vine so that we could be adopted again, basically. And that's the adoption that, Paul is speaking of. Who are Israelites to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law. So here's Paul talking about the covenant, talking about the giving of the law. We understand that Torah is the law, because when the scriptures were mistranslated from Hebrew to other dialects, to other languages, taken away from its authenticity, taken away from the genuineness of the scriptures, that it translated into law, you know what I mean? But it's actually Torah. And so he goes on to say, in the service of Elohim in the promises. So the service is what, you see us doing now. That's what a servant does. He serves. So that's what we doing now by, teaching the truth of this word. And then when you go to Galatians 4:5, to redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive the adoption of the Son. Because, we were under the law. We're still up under the law. That's what the adoption was for, because he redeemed us from the law. Because like I said, according to the law, when a woman received a bill of divorce, and she went out and she, defiled the bed and slept with another man, she couldn't return back to him, and that's why, they had the, when a man became jealous over his wife, thinking that, she was cheating or that she was being unfaithful or being an infidel, they would have, I forgot what it was called, but it's the ritual of jealousy or something like that. I can't call it verbatim, but they would bring the woman before the priest, and the priest would make her drink gal. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing that they did, on when Yahusha was hanging on the stake. They made him drink vinegar and water, basically, which was what they would call gal. You see what I'm saying? And if the woman became bloated after she drunk, then that was the evidence that she did cheat, even though the man didn't catch her in the act. You see what I'm saying? And so it goes on in Ephesians to say, having predestined us unto the adoption of children by Yahusha Hamashiach to himself, according to the good pleasures of his will. So the adoption, which made us children, is because he basically, it's with like, let's say, when you go read Hosea, the Most High told Hosea to go marry a prostitute, because that's what Israel had became. Israel had prostituted their self out, to serve these false gods and these false idols. You see what I'm saying? So he told Hosea to go marry this prostitute. You see what I'm saying? And so that was the same thing as the adoption. Like, although this woman had a husband and he didn't die, she had children. You see what I'm saying? But then this other man came by came or came and married her, and although the children wasn't his, he adopted them. You see what I'm saying? To make those children his. You see what I'm saying? Because even though Yahusha and Yahuwah are one and the same, you see what I'm saying? Because the Most High ain't gonna go against His law, He had to basically come as Yahusha to redeem us. You see what I'm saying? And graft us back into the vine. But we are the branch, and so in closing, that's why they don't want to teach critical race theory. That's why they're making the laws and putting them on the books, to do away with these teachings in the schools. Because, when you go back and you look at slavery, you know what I'm saying, these people basically turned us into dogs. Basically they, and that's why they called us Gentiles, because that's what they did. You have to understand, when we don't want to place blame on anyone, because it's our fault, because our forefathers didn't, rebelled against the Most High like they did, on Mount Sinai, when they went through the valley in Mount Sinai, and they was cursed. You see what I'm saying? So because we were disobedient to the Most High's Torah, we didn't obey instructions and directions that He gave us. As His bride, Israel was His bride. Yasharel was His bride, and because we didn't obey, He cursed us and divorced us. And so we were and you can go look all of this up, 70 AD. When Jerusalem was ransacked. You see what I'm saying? And so a lot of Israel went into Africa. They basically retreated into Africa, or ran down into Africa. I was looking for a better word, but that's you understand what I'm saying. And so they were in a lot of the Gold Coast. They were in Sierra Leone, Ghana, in these places. You know what I mean? And because of our structure that we had, our principles and our laws and our statutes, we had a different dress code. And this is how they were able to tell us apart, because we wore fringes. You see what I'm saying? Because we wore turbans. You see what I'm saying? And so this is how they were able to tell, we had a set of laws and the statutes and commandments that we were to keep. And so when when the Romans came down, to finish the job that they had started, they came into Africa, and they paid those Africans to capture us. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't our tribe going against our tribe. It was, we were amongst a different nation. You see what I'm saying? And so they captured us and they sold us into slavery. But once they got us here, the things that they did to us, over the 400 years, incest, what I'm saying? Having, mother sleeping with the child, and, the raping of the child, what I'm saying? Just the different things that they did, the trauma that they caused. You see what I'm saying? And now what you see is that playing out now. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't just because of, TV and music. You know what I'm saying? It was encoded in us over the 400 years that we lost our identity. We lost our names. You see what I'm saying? And this is the reason why we so confused, because our names had meanings. And so because they stripped us of our identity and they taught us how to be reprobate, you know what I'm saying? What you see now is the product of the things that they did to us then. And so that's why you have our women out here prostituting. You know what I'm saying? You got our men out here, pimping, and doing these things. You manipulating they women into, our women into, being whores and selling their body, just so that they can make a living. And so that is, because when you go do the history on the pimping, you know what I'm saying? Let's speak on that. You know what I'm saying? After we was, the slave master, a man would marry a woman, and this was after, they were supposedly free, the proclamation of emancipation or whatever. You see what I'm saying? The man couldn't find a job because, you know what I'm saying, the people that was in charge of the job didn't want to hire him. You see what I'm saying? They would intentionally, not give them work so that, you know what I'm saying, according to the law, lottering, if they was sitting around, that was a charge. You see what I'm saying? And that way they got free labor. You see what I'm saying? But because this man couldn't find a job, he would basically tell his wife, to go, up, you know what I'm saying, and sleep with the, with master. You see what I'm saying? So that they can make ends meet. And this is why, the government, you know what I'm saying, is your zaddy now. Basically your pimp. He take care of you. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing going on. But when you speak about things like this, it's frowned upon. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody wants to face the truth and face the fact that, you know what I'm saying, as a people, we have been destroyed. You see what I'm saying? And so this is why you see today our children doing a thing, just like when they showed you in Django. They used to make them get into a circle and fight to the death. That's why, you brothers don't have a problem with, you know what I'm saying, shooting down your own. You see what I'm saying? Just, if you go back and you do your research on history of slavery, then you will see all the things that was done to us to cause us to be a Gentile. And they stripped you of your identity and took your identity. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they name all their children Jacob and Isaac. And, they name their children, Joshua. And, they bearing the names of our forefathers. The deception that comes with that. And now we got names like my mama named me Brandy. You know what I'm saying? You know how much, many problems I had coming up, because they didn't even want to call me Brandy. They want to call me Brandon. You got, them making fun of people. Shanae, what type of name is that? Because your identity was found in your name. That's why when, John the Baptist was being named, which his name was Yakanah, which means precious unto Yahuwah, or they call him the Lord, because they took the name, but precious to Yahuwah. You see what I'm saying? Because he was precious. Anybody that preaches his word is precious to him. And so that's why, when the angel came to him, he say, "No, you're not gonna name him." I think his father's name was Zachariah. I forget. If I could be wrong, but Zachariah and Elizabeth, yeah, that was his name, Zachariah. But he was, it was usually according to the family, you would name the child after the father, and so the angel, the Malachim of Yahuwah, came to him and told him he was to name him Yakanah, because our names have meanings. in that time. You know, these days our names have no meaning. You know, they have meaning, but not the meaning that, you know, of not the identity of us. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, you know, why I'm saying is that, you know, I'm just giving you the truth of the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? That they don't really tell you, you know, in the church. You see what I'm saying? Because they not authorized to teach you these things. You know, so I gotta come out here and teach you the truth. You see what I'm saying? Because you was turned into a Gentile dog. That's why you act like a dog is an animal, is a beast. The mark of the beast, the 666, that's to act like an animal. That's why when you go look at Gideon was on only allowed to take 300 men with him because the 10,000 men that he was gonna take, you know what I'm saying, lap water like a dog. And this is teaching you. This is the teaching. You know, and so you have to understand that you were made into a Gentile. But you're not a Gentile. You are the actual branch, the bloodline descendant. And this is what they don't want you to know. This is why they keep you divided. So, shalom, peace, and blessings. You know what I'm saying? Like, share, and subscribe, man.